So you've been thinking about it for a while now, right? You're thinking about leaving your job. You're thinking, God, I put in so many hours here and I'm just not being rewarded in the right ways. I'm not building wealth. I'm not moving towards my goals. Well, that's what today's show is all about. 5 reasons to quit your job.
Here we are at our very first rental property.
Hey everyone, I'm Clayton Morris, longtime real estate investor, entrepreneur. I've started multiple 7-figure businesses, and a few years ago, I left my day job. So I know a thing or two about deciding to leave your job, and there's some big questions that you need to wrestle with before you make that leap. I hear from a lot of you. A lot of you write to me and wrestle with this as well and ask, hey Clayton, when is it time should I leave my job? I've got a few rental properties already. I'm a few years away from getting my pension. I'm a school teacher and I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm not building the business that I want. When should I do it? I think there are really 5 reasons to consider quitting your job. And you need to put this down on paper, do a pro and cons list and really decide what works for you. And this is a deeply personal decision. But I really think that there are 5 main reasons that you'd want to consider leaving your job. Let's start off with the very first one. Millionaires have at least 7 sources of income. So when you work for someone else, you don't have another source of income. If you're just punching that 9 to 5 and you're working 40 hours a week for somebody else, you have one source of income. And unfortunately, you're taxed in the highest tax bracket. Now, look at big companies, big corporations. They have multiple sources of income. It's something that I've really wrestled with as an entrepreneur within my own company, making sure that we have multiple sources of revenue so that we can sustain anything. If one source of our revenue goes down, that doesn't mean I can't feed my children and take care of my family and my employees, right? No, I want to make sure that I've got multiple sources of income. So again, a millionaire has 7 sources of income. And when you look at a company like Apple, for instance, they were a computer manufacturer, right? Then they started making smartphones. But recently, in the past few years, Apple has gone all in on services. iCloud storage, paying for Apple TV News or Apple TV Plus, Apple News. So these additional services, Apple Arcade, all of these things layered on top of their hardware business, multiple streams of income coming in for Apple. And just think about other major corporations. If you sit back and think about Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola is about to launch its own seltzer bottled water company. They're launching a brand new line because they're seeing sugar water and Coke actually declining. People realize they don't want to be drinking corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup in the United States anymore because it's basically a toxin. And so shifting now into other areas, and more people were buying seltzer water. So Coca-Cola said, we've got an idea. We're going to make 0-calorie, all-natural seltzer water to broaden their horizons and to think about the other things they already own, right? Dasani, I believe they own Dasani. There's multiple things that they already own. So multiple streams of income in case their sugar water business declines in America. They've got water and seltzer water as another source. But when you work for somebody else, you have one source of income and you're taxed at the highest tax bracket. So begin to think about ways that you can diversify to help take care of your family for many, many years in the future. Number 2 on my list, 40 hours a week. Come on, you're not working 40 hours a week. Unless you work at McDonald's where you clock in and clock out. I used to work at McDonald's. That was my first job, by the way. You would go home and you'd be done for the day. You'd put your smelly McDonald's clothes in the wash. You'd flip on the TV and you'd be done. You'd watch some football and you'd be out of it, right? Well, that's not the real world. Nowadays, 40 hours a week is what you might put in at the office, but you're probably putting in another 15, 20, 30 at home. Checking email, checking in with your boss. That's why certain countries have even banned using email or connecting with the company after hours. France, other countries now considering banning employees from even touching their email, their work-related email after hours. The United States might have to go along with this eventually. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But just think about the amount of extra time that you're putting in. So yeah, you work 40 hours a week? No. I want you to really tabulate every time that you touch your phone and check in on work. Check in on that file. Text message another employee to make sure that they've got the update that they need. Even though you're home and you're on the couch, that is still working. You are not disconnected from that job. And that time that you're at home is a valuable time. That's a time when you can be devoting to building a business, starting something for yourself, your side hustle. Remember, I say there are 168 hours in a week. There are 168 hours in a week. If you work 40 hours a week at a company and you sleep 8 hours a night, which you're not, that leaves 72 hours left in the week for you to start a business, start something, invest in real estate, make a change in your life. But if you're constantly connected to that office for that one stream of income, you're not going to be able to put in that extra time for your side hustle. Number 3 on my list, you'll never truly be able to build wealth when you work for somebody else, unless you are really diligent about building a side hustle. But even then, you must start your own business. The government rewards you for starting your own business, whether it's an LLC or some other entity. Consult with your lawyers and tax accountants on this. But when you are working for somebody else as a W-2 employee, you are taxed at the highest possible rate. Why? Because the government doesn't reward you. They value business owners. Therefore, they're taxed at a much lower rate because they provide employment. They're building housing, they're agriculture, they're building solar farms. They're doing things to help the economy. Therefore, the tax incentives and the tax breaks are there for entrepreneurs. So I encourage you, even if you don't want to quit your job just yet, think about what can you do with those additional 72 hours every day where you sit down, start an LLC. We have a link below. It takes 5 minutes to set up an LLC. Pick a name. It doesn't even have to be creative. It could just be your business entity name, okay? Open a business checking account and start your side hustle. Start your online business. Start your website. Start your YouTube channel. Start investing in real estate. Do something that puts you in a different tax bracket. Start thinking differently about running your expenses in your life through your business, okay? You're working from home, internet access, the newspaper subscription that you have, things like that. Now, again, consulting with your tax accountant can be legitimate business expenses that you're using to grow your business, and therefore lowering your overall taxable burden from your W-2 job. Okay, now this is if you're not leaving yet, okay? But if you're not leaving yet, still start that business. But if you do leave, you want to make sure you have a business entity in place. It protects you liability-wise. It also puts you in a totally different tax bracket. So think about that. Start a business. Number 4 on my list is golden handcuffs. Many of us think about that job, the job that we have, as a safety net. I'm sure you may be thinking that right now. Well, what about my health benefits, right? What about that 401k? What about that salary that I get every week? You know, it's safety. It's safety. It's not. Because what happens when you're laid off? And suddenly that rug is pulled out from under you. What actually a job is golden handcuffs. It's a false sense of security. Working for somebody else is a false sense of security. I remember when I was starting out as a TV anchor, TV reporter, and producer in my very, very early days in the TV business. I lived in Los Angeles, and I was a producer at Good Day LA. And I remember all the staff saying to me, hey, it's kind of like golden handcuffs around here. It's Los Angeles, you know, you get to meet all these celebrities all the time. I mean, there were celebrities coming on that show every day. As a producer, I was helping them into the green room. I was learning how the show unfolded. But one of my senior executive producers said to me, you have bigger plans. This is golden handcuffs, meaning you get lulled into this safety net, you get lulled into the beauty of it all, and then you don't reach out and seek your truer self and your truer soul journey and go after your goals. Some of the best advice he ever gave me enabled me to leave, go off, become a news anchor, and then ended up anchoring the #1 show in cable news in the world as a result, and starting my own businesses, and sky's the limit, right? Because of that advice, some incredible advice. So don't fall victim to the idea that a job is your safety net, that it's protection. It's not. It's golden handcuffs, and when those handcuffs suddenly go away, holy smokes, you know, your 401k dries up. What are you going to do? It's not a safety net, okay? When you work for somebody else, that is holding you back. Number 5 on my list is your health. A new report out recently showed that American workers specifically are really struggling with their health when they work a 9-to-5 job, when they work for somebody else in an office environment. And it's not even just the sitting. It's not even just the being behind a computer. It's the stress. It's the anxiety from an office-based approach to life and to a business. So even if all the other reasons don't apply to you, thinking about leaving your job for health reasons, to be able to get into a pace where you can work from home and work the schedule that you want. You want to take a lunch with a business partner for 2 hours? Great, do it. You want to jog for an hour in the morning and then spend your day from 10 to noon working on your business? You can do that. When you work for somebody else who's controlling your schedule, that's never going to happen. And health-related issues and stress-related issues are skyrocketing because of the workplace. So I want you to really consider, perhaps leaving that job because of number 5 on my list, which is your health. So there you go, 5 reasons to consider quitting your job and making a new life for yourself. I would love to know what you think about it. Hit me up in the comments below. We have over 400 videos right here on the channel to help you start to become an investor, start to build a business. I believe real estate investing is the #1 way to build wealth. So hit that subscribe button and we'll see you in the next video, everyone.